The IZOD IndyCar Series has moved from Edmonton, Alberta to north central Ohio. As the 12th race of the year unfolds here, there's still buzz about the finish in Canada that denied Elio Castroneves a possible win. Welcome to peak pole qualifying here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in preparation for tomorrow's Honda Indy 200. Will Power could wrap up the road course championship tomorrow. Ryan Briscoe won the race here in 2008, and Scott Dixon is a two-time winner in 2007 and last year. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Mid-Ohio. Before we get into qualifying, we want to recap what happened 2 weeks ago in Edmonton. First of all, with what the drivers were told in their meeting, and secondly, with what happened with 3 laps to go in the event itself.
We shouldn't have any defending or blocking. Again, we'll be visually dividing the braking point to the entry in the corner in the half. You can only be on the inside half if you're overtaking someone and attempting to pass. If you're down there when you're being passed, that's blocking, and don't impede the progress of the car behind you or move your car in reaction to following actions of a car behind you.
3 laps to go.
Here comes Will Power. He'll dart to the outside. They stay side by side. Now Elio has a bit of an advantage, and here comes the 9 of Scott Dixon. He grabs second. Dixon just forces his way through.
They are going to penalize Elio for blocking.
They wanted to take it away with a drive-through, but he hasn't given it yet.
And a controversial finish, Dixon wins.
To take a race away from somebody like this, I'm not real sure how this works.
Brian always says if you're blocking going into any of the corners, if you're on the right side, especially going into turn 1, then you're going to get penalized. And we get told every week, so you could definitely see something was going to happen there. But I can't believe we won. It's fantastic.
It's just ridiculous. I never moved my line. I actually gave room him outside. When you go side by side like that with your teammate, and the guys just literally just take it away from you, it's just absurd.
Earlier this week, the IZOD IndyCar Series officials fined Elio $60,000 and placed him in probation for the remainder of the season for unsportsmanlike conduct and failure to heed the black flag. Moments ago, Jack Arute spoke with Elio.
Well, Elio, first of all, I want to get your take on the $60,000 fine.
Well, certainly I let my emotions took over. I do feel I was punished enough, you know, taking the racing win away, the 50 points, the chance on the championship, and also the prize money. So it was a little harsh. Certainly, I don't know why. I'm always the one that have to set the example, but there is no excuse getting out of the car and talk to the officials. By the way, I was not confronting anybody. Unfortunately, the TV does show a little bit different, but I was actually asking them why Brian Barna made that call.
Looking back at the whole Edmonton thing, now having some time to think about it, what's your position about the call itself?
I think it was completely wrong. Certainly, the way that the rules are written are very inconsistent. You know, the calls that it's been happening, not only 1 year, not only 2 years, but it's been quite like that. And that's just an unfortunate, you know. Unfortunately for us, the drivers, you can ask all the drivers as well, it's just not clear, you know. We don't know what to do, you know, if we can move or we cannot move or things like that.
Elliot, where are the consistencies? Do you have some specific examples?
No, because it doesn't have it. But certainly if you have a warning, for example, certainly one of those things, I guarantee, for example, like Indianapolis, a lot of people got a warning and they didn't do any move anymore. They didn't change the lane, or they tried to defend the position. But in this sport, it's racing. I mean, in any kind of sports, there is the attack and then there is the defense. You know, certainly we try, the way the rules are written, try to take the essence of racing at the moment. But, you know, I'm not going to go into there because it's over. I'm just turned the page, ready to go to Mid-Ohio, try to do my best, but certainly I still do not agree with the call.
Hey, Bob, the good thing is it is over, and now he's concentrating on Mid-Ohio.
Absolutely, Jack. One thing we want to point out is Edmonton is one of 3 international races that the booth announcers, Jan, Robbie, and I, do not go to. We did our part from studio in Indianapolis, so we weren't in the driver's meeting. But, Jan, clearly there was a violation.
Once you hear the tape from the driver's meeting, there is no question that Elio Castroneves broke the letter of the law. But there's also the spirit of the law, and I still like the way we called it. The spirit of the law, as fans, as race fans, we saw him going into turn 1. We're like, yeah, that's great racing. Near the end of the race, in my view, let them play. See, in some sports, you have the letter of the law, let's say pass interference in the end zone. But then it gets past the 2-minute warning. They kind of let them play. But he was so specific, Robbie, in the driver's meeting, he almost had to levy that penalty. So now we've talked to Brian Barnhart and said, well, how about changing it for restarts?
You're right. He did need to levy that. I mean, he made it very clear. He said, you cannot go down the inside of the racetrack unless you're trying to overtake someone. So sorry, Elio, he did do exactly what he said he would do in the driver's meeting. Too bad. But it's all in the spirit of competition and safety. So competition, what does that mean? I think it's a good rule, because what it does on road courses that are very difficult to pass, it really creates a lot more excitement and passing that happens on the racetrack. Now, the drivers need to understand those rules. They need to be enforced consistently so it's fair for everybody throughout the year. Now, as you said, as you get down to the last minute of racing, say, let them have at it, Brian Barner's also willing to say, hey, I want to make it better and more competitive and better for the fans all the time. And what we think is maybe on restarts is, you know what, you have the opportunity to protect that inside line, at least for a lap, and then it reverts back to what the rules are. And that may give you that inside the last 2 minutes of let's get crazy and have some fun.
Belle Isle in 2007 was an example of clear blocking. Elio Castroneves was in the lead trying to keep Justin Wilson, who was driving the McDonald's car behind him, and Elio was called for blocking. I think it's very, very obvious from that video that indeed that was the case. But you know, after Elio was taken from the lead, he came back and won the very next week, or the next race, at Chicagoland Speedway. So will history be able to repeat itself this year? Well, first of all, we'll determine who the pole sitter is, and we'll begin when we come back on Versus with peak pole qualifying.
IZOD IndyCar qualifying on Versus is presented by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win. And by IZOD, the official apparel sponsor of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's.
We welcome you back to Peak Pole Qualifying here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, about 50 miles north of Columbus. As has been our custom before a road course race here on Versus, we ask a driver to draw the track blindfolded. And today that honor goes to the hometown favorite, Graham Rahal.
So welcome to Mid-Ohio. It is my home track, although I've never drawn it before, so I can't tell you how pretty this is going to be. You come down the front straight. The first turn was a super fast left-hand corner. Really, really high speed. It's pretty rough, pretty bumpy. Down fairly long straightaway into the keyhole. Another good passing opportunity. Go down to the keyhole and hard braking. You go over a huge crest. The exit, it's hard to get power down the long back straightaway. Got a little bit of a kink in it. Hard braking zone. This is where most of the passing will take place. You got a hard right-hand corner. You go up into the S's. Come down over the hill into a hard right-hand 90-degree corner. You go up over a left-hand, really hard to be flat here. The car really moves around into somewhat of a double right-hand corner. Then you come through Thunder Alley. Really cool section to watch the cars. They're really loud. It's got a little bit of a right-hand kink. Hard, really fast left-hand corner. Really high commitment into what they call the carousel, which is a hard right-hander. And then a quick little left onto the front straightaway. Well, it's a little skewed, but that's all right. I'll take it.
Not bad at all, Graham. You turned in way too soon on corner number 4. Other than that, it was good. And Jan has the highlights of segment 1 of qualifying.
We have got through segment number 1. Of course, it's in 2 different groups, but this is in the morning. This is what happened to Will Power. He caught the curb in turn number 1, then gets way out. Look, it lifts up the car. He gets way out into the grass, tries to pull it back, and said he purposefully spun it here, so he hit backwards. Thankfully, that's just tires and not a wall behind there, but they have had to go to the backup car. So, you would say Will Power might be struggling. No. Will Power was out along with his teammate Elio Castroneves. He put the number down quickly. You'll notice those alternate sidewall tires. Almost everyone in both groups, once they got warmed up, got into their alternate strategy and got right up towards the front. Now, we mentioned Will Power. Was he going to be somewhat conservative maybe in his spare car?
That would be no. That would be no.
Will Power got out and put himself right at the top of the time charts in group number 1 and continued his charge on road courses.
So from group number 1 in round 1, it's Will Power the quickest, then Briscoe, Takuma Sato ended up 3rd quick, Marco Andretti 4th, EJ Viso 5th, and Elio Castroneves, all 3 Penske drivers in the top 6. And in group number 2, the fastest was Dario. Also in there, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Scott Dixon, Justin Wilson, Simona Di Silvestro, and Hideki Muto. And now we move to round number 2 of knockout qualifying. The top 6 from this segment will go into the Firestone Fast Six to determine the starting positions at the front of the field. There's Takuma Sato.
And if you notice from group 1 to group 2, just looking at those times, the track is definitely getting quicker from group 1 to 2. So I think we'll even look for quicker times here for everybody to try and transfer up to that top 6.
That despite the fact that it's a very sunny, beautiful day, and perhaps the track is heating up just a little bit.
A lot of what the drivers are talking about that Robbie mentioned is the track is coming in the more use that they get on it. There's a lot of racing going on this weekend. There's sports cars, there's all different types of tires, and the more Firestone Firehawk rubber that you can get down on this racetrack, even if it's hot, Bob, it will continue to get faster and faster.
There is the man who will undoubtedly clinch the Mario Andretti Road Course Trophy, the first one awarded by the IZOD IndyCar Series, Will Power.
And he is on the Firestone Blacks, which is the little harder tire. They're probably, as we're gauging what's happened up to this point, they look to be about a half a second difference between sticker blacks to sticker red Firestones.
Let's go to our pit reporters. First, here's Robbie Floyd.
Well, I asked Will how he was doing after the injury. Everything is all right for Will Power now. It has a little bruised right leg, but when he switched to that T car, it's a totally different car. They've been working on it on back, and sometimes when you hop in a car, things aren't exactly the way they would be in the car you just got out of. And I talked to Clive Howell, said, how is it? He said, not one word out of me. He said, I was actually surprised a little bit, but no changes. They're saying how the brake pedal, the positioning, everything is fine, but things have been busy. Not much lunch around the Penske camp. It's bratwurst and go for Team Penske, Lindy.
Well, Robbie, KB Racing had a strong finish in Edmonton. They had 4 drivers in the top 10 at the end. Paul Tracy was with them. Well, this morning, Sato, Viso, and Marias, they were all in the Fast 10 in practice, and now all 3 have advanced into the second round. EJ and Mario Marias are battling wrist injuries. EJ's not so bad, but Marias actually has a cracked bone in his right wrist. He's probably going to be fitted for a special brace so that he can race tomorrow. The team tested here last week. It's the first test they've gotten in this season. They say that has clearly helped, and if any team, guys, needs a good, clean weekend, it's KB Racing.
Yeah, we noticed the brace on Marias' hand yesterday in the drivers' meeting.
Said it hurt a lot at Edmonton, but if you can get through Edmonton, you can get through Mid-Ohio. I mean, Edmonton has this kind of load with bumps, and at least Mid-Ohio is smooth.
And there is EJ Viso, who is P1 at the moment. 120.240 miles an hour, a minute 7.6 seconds. Well, let's call in Jack Arute down in the IZOD Performance Pit Center.
Bob, as you, Jan, and Robbie were talking about, the track is getting better and better each and every lap. That has thrown this session and all the competitors into a bit of a conundrum. You know how everybody likes to try and at least have a set of reds to be able to utilize in the Firestone Fast Six? up and down. The guys that I talk to, they don't feel like they can afford to do that. Look for everybody to use up a second set of reds, those alternate tires, during this session. Then they said, we'll just go roll for the dice for the top 6 positions, probably on used reds, if not new blacks.
Take a look at the Firestone telemetry up there in the right-hand corner.
With Ryan Hunter-Reay, who's really been really impressive on all the road courses all year. But, you know, you think of that strategy, you know, if you have to use your reds up to get to the Fast Six, you got to do what you got to do to get there. You know, it doesn't do you any good to hold them back and say, oh, I missed getting into the Fast Six.
Dario Franchitti has moved to P number 1. Ryan Hunter-Reay coming in is now 3rd on the speed chart. And Will Power also sits in his pit. He is currently 5th. Quick. There is Simona Di Silvestro, and she got into the second round, and she was right ahead of Tony Kanaan, who was on a good lap, and this is what happened as she came out of the pit area.
Now she, at this time, is gapping herself. See, she's running slow, and we thought she was going to let Tony Kanaan by. He was on a run that at that time, his splits showed him in 5th, but she decides to gas it and start going for a lap. And obviously, that is not what Tony Kanaan wanted. He jams on the brakes and then gaps himself, but she goes on to get in. Kanaan was on the outside looking in. He didn't make it.
Simona putting on reds. It's Franchitti, Sato, Viso, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Elio Castroneves, and Simona Di Silvestro, the top 6 here in round 2 of qualifying at Mid-Ohio. We are determining the starting positions for tomorrow's Honda Indy 200, and you can see it live here on Versus. Join us at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. Scott Dixon is the defending champion. He'll be looking for his 3rd win at this place, but Will Power and Dario Franchitti, among others, will be on hand to challenge for the win. The Honda Indy 200 tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time. Elio Castroneves on track, and moments ago, he and E.J. Viso had a call. A moment.
Oh, that was going into the keyhole. And now he's pretty far back here,
yeah,
Robbie.
So watch the jump, but and what it was, if you looked at EJ's car, he had just come out because he's on sticker reds. Little gesture from Elio on board there.
A little friendly gesture.
Just yes.
It's still Franchitti at the top. Castroneves is now 2nd. Sato, Viso, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Simona Di Silvestro are right now those who will transfer. That's Dario Franchitti, who just came out. On the outside looking in, Power, Muto, Dixon, Andretti, Wilson, and Briscoe. Robbie.
It's a tough decision for Dario Franchitti. He was sitting number 1, and those were with used reds. You say, why does he go out with the new reds, especially so early? And I went up and I talked, you know, to the camp, and they said, well, it takes a little longer than we were expecting. So about 4 minutes, he's going to have to make that decision. So, yeah, we see him go out there, even though he's in P1, using up brand, or it never would have came up to 10.
That's very interesting, Robbie, because what he's saying is that you would do the 3 laps, and Simona has stalled on pit road, which they can push her back to her pit and get her restarted. But if it takes 4 laps to get up to speed, you can't wait till a couple laps in the end to find out you need to protect your position. You have to go out and get them warmed up, but he can still abort. Yeah. He can still abort the run and save some of the sweet spot of the tire.
And that's actually surprised us a little bit here, because usually when you go out on these alternate Firestone reds, after about a lap and a half, they're in. But now they're saying you got to put in about 4 laps of just getting them up to operating temperature, and just has to do with the grip on this racetrack to get that done.
There is Viso now down in 4th spot.
He's just running cool right now, you know. Maybe cooling his tires off, or knows what he's posted, maybe coming in, getting himself a gap on the racetrack.
The timing line is coming up. You'll see a cone just to the right. There it is.
Right
so
there.
He may have been soft pedaling, but you're going to be full on it by the time. The idea is to give yourself a gap. So you want to back off before you get to the timing line, and then get it spooled up so you don't have any traffic ahead when you lay one down.
Yeah, and you just need 1 lap and get yourself a good clean lap there. And by having the timeline back there, what it does is it lets everybody take better use of the 15-minute session, so you can trip that timeline, know what your time is, and come into the pits. If you did it at the start-finish line, then you'd have to say, oh, that's a good lap, but then you got a whole minute and a half before you're back on pit road. So it just comes back to efficiencies.
Now, the flag stand on the front stretch will be where the race ends. However, the race will start at yet another place on the backstretch.
And the timing line will also be shifted back to the normal front straightaway start-finish line for the race.
Right here.
Yep.
Right on the left-hand side, you can see that flag stand in blue and that line across the racetrack. That's where the green flag will come.
And Simona's out of the car, Lindy.
Yeah, we've just heard that something is broken in the clutch on her car. I know, a lot of disappointment for them. We actually heard on the radio right at the last second when she made it into round 2, Michael Keenan said, oh my gosh, my heart just actually started beating again. So a lot of disappointment for them.
Wow. 2 minutes to go, and now Will Power, who was outside the top 6, is in P3.
Oh.
And there goes Briscoe off track. He's 5th.
He can come right into the pits right there. He goes.
I meant to do that. But when you're on the bubble, you don't want to be on pit lane. He wants to get out quick.
And Viso is now on that bubble. I'll make it Marco Andretti. Here's Ryan again. A little wide coming off the corner. Bumpy ride there.
Actually, it's Marco trying to get on the bubble there, Bob, because Ryan's in 6th.
Yep, Marco, is on, Andretti, Viso, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Silvestro, and Muto and Wilson are not in. And Ryan Hunter-Reay is trying to get there, and he moves to 5th.
And this quick, fast left-hander right there is where Briscoe went off. That's a fast 4th gear corner.
So Briscoe is now bumped.
Just as we are riding on board with Hunter-Reay right there.
Will Power moves to P1.
And that's the quickest time that we've seen all weekend so far. 1:07.1 is the quickest anybody's laid down in any session.
Okay, now EJ Viso is on a lap at the moment. He's got a half a lap or so to go, but he is working a lap that would get him up to 5th. Oh, now he slipped to 6th, but 6 would still work.
Yep.
Viso having to work with those splits.
Would knock Ryan Hunter-Reay out. And he's off course. Oh, wow. Well, so much for that.
So much for that one.
Well, if you're going to go off. Justin and Briscoe.
Now, Briscoe was, right before this happened, we just had a shot where Briscoe was in front of Wilson.
Uh-oh.
Here comes Ryan to have a word with Justin Wilson. Now, boys.
It looks like they both have an opinion of what happened.
Yeah, Justin's like a foot and a half taller.
Well, my vote goes to the guy with the reach.
So those transferring: Power, Franchitti, Sato, Dixon, Castroneves, and Ryan Hunter-Reay. Ryan did not. Wilson did not. Neither did Viso. Marco.
By the body English, they obviously feel that they were not at fault. And we'll soon, hopefully, be able to find out.
Well, like I said, as they're coming down that back straightaway, I did notice Briscoe was in front of Wilson, and I don't know if he wasn't necessarily up to speed because he was just trying to gap himself to trip the line one more time and have that last lap.
Briscoe would have just left the pits because we knew he went on to pit road after going off track, so that would have been his out lap.
So he's still coming up to speed.
Guys, don't forget one thing. They were smart race car drivers. Did you notice that they had words with each other with their helmets on?
All right, so Briscoe he's on an out lap. He's not going to be as fast.
And Justin's all over him.
And it certainly looks like Briscoe's opening the door. It looks like he's letting him through, but he must not have seen him. I mean, if I was Justin, I would have taken that hole. It looked to me like Briscoe was opening the door for him. That was an out lap.
But it all started in turn 4 before they got to 5 because Justin just closed in so quickly under braking there, and it really had the momentum as they rolled through turn 4 as you go up the hill.
And so Briscoe being on an out lap and going much slower and seemingly leaving the door open, to me, I say Justin was in the right, Briscoe in the wrong. Just opinion.
Well, in any case, it results in neither of them making the Firestone Fast Six. The ones who will transfer include Will Power, Dario Franchitti, Takuma Sato, Scott Dixon, Elio Castroneves, and Ryan Hunter-Reay. It is knockout qualifying from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course as we continue the IZOD IndyCar season. And literally for Ryan Briscoe and Justin Wilson at the end of round number 2, here's what happened between the two. Ryan Briscoe had gotten off course
and sneaks right back across the racetrack into pit in. Right there, he's going to come across. Sneak back into pit road.
And then moments later, this.
He gets out. Certainly slower down the back straightaway. Looked like he left the door open. Justin Wilson went for the gap, but it wasn't there.
Robbie Floyd is with Ryan Briscoe.
Ryan, what did it feel like inside the car? What was going through your head? What were you seeing?
Oh, it's just really frustrating. We were coming around and I had to hustle to try to get one more lap in to try to make it in the Fast Six. And, we're coming down and I knew Justin was a little bit behind me, but we got down to turn 4. There was a car that had spun off and was off in the runoff area. And, I was still going pretty quick, but obviously just being a little bit cautious because of the car off in the runoff area. Next thing, Wilson just drove straight up into me. So I don't know if he was trying to pass me or what, but...
you haven't seen it, though, have you?
I haven't seen the accident, but, I was on my normal racing line and hustling to get around. And, I was outside the Fast Six. I don't know where he was, but I was going as quick as I could to try to get around and get a lap in. And I don't know if I don't know what he was trying to do.
And I want to say what you were feeling when you come up here, because it looks different. I think we have it on the jerk cam here if you want to see it. Yeah, let's go ahead and roll it and let you see what it looks like for different, because the guys in the booth are looking, going, well, maybe you're taking it easy. You haven't even tried setting your fast lap yet.
Yeah, I'd come out of the pit, so obviously at this point I see a car that's off in the dirt, so I had to slow up a little bit. And yeah, so usually when there's a car off in the dirt in front of you, it's no passing. And so I just didn't even see that he was going to try to make the move there. And it's pretty frustrating.
There you see Viso. So Viso was in front of you. Maybe a chance Justin didn't see Viso.
Yeah, I don't know. But if Justin said he was on a hot lap that lap, so I don't know if he thought he was still going to set the world on fire by passing me into turn 5. I don't think so.
All right, thanks a lot, Brian. Bob?
That's the story from Ryan Briscoe. Meanwhile, we are ready to go here in just a few moments for the Firestone Fast Six. Will Power be able to win his 6th pole of the year on a road course? We'll tell you in a moment. So here are the drivers who'll be in the Firestone Fast Six. 6th fastest last round was Ryan Hunter-Reay. 5th, Elio Castroneves. 4th quick was Scott Dixon. Takuma Sato ended up as 3rd quick. 2nd fastest was Dario Franchitti. And to no one's surprise, Will Power was the quickest and will look for yet another pole position. Most poles in a season, you ask? Elio Castroneves in 2007 earned 7. Scott Dixon had 6 in 2005, and Dario had 5 last year, and Will has 6 through 11 races this year. Elio Castroneves is the only car who has gone onto the track right now for the Firestone Fast Six to determine the starting position of the fastest 6 qualifiers. 10-minute session. And he trips the clock, and here we go, Jack.
And guys, it's no surprise to me that everybody's going to be a little tardy going out. Remember, we talked about the fact you had to play your red card in the 1st and the 2nd round. So now what you want to do, you want to see what the benchmark is. And the track, everybody's reporting, continues lap after lap to get faster, both on used reds and on blacks. So it'll be interesting. I think it's a game of liar's poker in the last minute and a half.
There is an advantage, though, Jack, of course. I know there would only be 6 cars running at a time, but if you are the first out, you're guaranteed, in this case for Castroneves, to have completely clear racetrack. So you want to at least take advantage of that on your first run and see unimpeded what kind of time can I get.
Elio has been in the Firestone Fast Six 7 times this year. Will has been in 8.
And Will being the only driver to make all 8 Firestone Fast Six.
And listen to the starting positions for Will Power as we look at his teammate Elio Castroneves. 5th in Brazil, 1st at St. Pete, Barber, Long Beach, Watkins Glen, 2nd at Toronto, 1st at Edmonton.
Pretty stout.
Yeah.
Pretty stout.
Elio heads down the straightaway into the keyhole, turn number 2.
Almost 160 as you head into the keyhole.
With the top speed at this straightaway be about 167, so really only about a 7-mile-per-hour difference on one end to the other, even though this one's downhill. See if he gets 8. Got an extra mile an hour from what we've seen.
And as you look around, you really have to call out the track personnel here. They have Mid-Ohio in beautiful shape for this race. Great place to come with the family and bring your lawn chair, your blanket.
See that 4-wheel drift there by Elio? He just kind of gets light over that turn 9 and coming down Thunder Alley.
Check on Ryan Hunter-Reay as he is about to begin a lap.
This really is an interesting Fast Six, because just kind of going back to what Jack was saying is, you know, we've always talked about prior to this is how many guys have held back the sticker Firestone Reds, the Ultimates, where at this point everybody's used them. So, you know, this is going to be more of a case of who's just going to throw it at it and pull together that one lap and minimize those mistakes. You know, and you ask a race driver, do you ever do the perfect lap? And the quick answer is no. There's always something more out there. And with everybody being on tires that already have a couple cycles on them, they're not quite at their optimum in terms of grip. So you're gonna be throwing the thing around.
Ryan Hunter-Reay is 5th in the point standings coming into Mid-Ohio. And, of course, at one point in the season, we wondered if he would be in the next race of Texas because he had funding only through that race. But yeah, IZOD stepped right up, and he is.
Think about the mental challenge this guy was in, Ryan Hunter-Reay, when he didn't know if he was going to be at the next race. Yep. That'd be tough. And maybe that was a good thing, because he's really had some great performance as he's gone through the road courses. And, you know, he's once again the one Andretti Autosport driver that's made it to this Fast Six. And remember who those teammates are. Kanaan, Marco, Danica. Says a lot.
Yep.
And Tony Kanaan has said that he loves Ryan Hunter-Reay's setups, that they can drive almost the exact same car. And here Tony Kanaan wasn't able to get through the first group, and you have Ryan Hunter-Reay who might be fighting for the pole.
Tony Kanaan will start tomorrow in 20th position, but if he puts the same setup as Ryan Hunter-Reay, he'll be moving up through the field. There's Takuma Sato. Meanwhile, Jack Arute is talking with Justin Wilson.
And guys, Wilson was just let to go out of the infield medical center. And we can see by holding your right hand, what did you injure, Justin?
Right bent it on the steering wheel when we made contact, so I made sure I had my hand off the steering wheel by the time we got to the wall, but just really disappointed. We're on a hot lap. It's the last lap of qualifying, and it was up 2:10s. Came up, you know, Ryan. I saw Ryan come out of the pits, and yeah, I just thought he was letting me by.
Let's take a look, Justin, here on and take a look at the angle and see if you can describe to us exactly what happened.
Okay. Yeah, as we're coming down here, I brake, go in. At this point, I think he's letting me by because he holds it tight. So I got the inside, and I was really shocked when we made contact. I was surprised because, like I said, I thought he was letting me go. And especially when he came out the pits and we're getting the checkered flag this time, you think he's got nothing to gain. I'm on a really hot lap that was good enough. You know, the team were telling me it was it 67.2, and I was on for like a 67.3 maybe. So halfway around the lap, I thought this is a good one, and just really disappointed.
Any of the words that you exchanged with Ryan Briscoe, can they be repeated on television?
Probably not. It's probably best not to. He thought I took him out. I thought he was letting me go. And you can see it was wheel to wheel. It wasn't as if I just ran to the side of his side pod. So, I just told him, you were on a slow lap. Why the hell were you, turning in? So
I think that's close enough, Justin.
we won't go into the actual words.
All right, thank you. Hey, guys, I think we got a new P1, huh?
We do. Takuma Sato has been out there flying while you were doing that interview, Jack. In fact, the lap that he's on right now, he's 2/10 up. He's already P1. He's 2/10 up on that lap.
Wow.
He's trying to get a 107.5. Ooh, now look at this. He's after it, Robbie. 107.49, right on the money. He's after it. Wendy?
Before Sato had tested here last week, he had never even seen this course, and now look at him now. Well, the team tells me that in between round 2 and 3, he was breathing pretty heavy. That guy was out of breath, and they told him, just breathe, just calm down. This round is where it counts.
Well, his best start this season in his rookie year has been a 5th at Watkins Glen, but he could be on his way to his best career start, and who knows?
Well, she said that his crew guys were saying how much he was paying, and I just go back to when I drove here, and when you worked hard to lay down that one lap, that one fast lap, you are working your butt off in that race car.
Just got knocked down to P2 as Dario goes to P1. Dixon is 3rd, Ryan Hunter-Reay 4th, Castroneves 5th, and Will Power is 6th with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go.
Wondered how long it would be till we heard from Dario that earlier strategy of going out on the tires and having them warm just in case. I have a feeling he didn't have to use the sweet spot of that set, and he has that left in the bag now for Dario. He's going to be tough to beat.
But still, when you're just looking at overall times, this Fast Six is still 2/10 slower than what it was the session before when everybody went out on sticker tires.
Will Power's best start here at Mid-Ohio was in 2008. He began from 12th position. But despite the crash he had today, he's been able to work the backup car into the Firestone Fast Six.
Pretty impressive to be able to go from your primary car to your backup car, and the driver doesn't say anything about pedal adjustment or all that. I mean, and that's what a good team strives for. And obviously Penske sets the bar is for a driver to get from one car to the next. And as a driver, you don't even know what car you're in, because sometimes you're like, oh, I like that car. It has a special feel for whatever. But to do that and have that repeatability in a race car, that sets the mark.
Now Power is speeding up. He didn't start the lap as fast because remember, it takes a few laps to get these really up to temperature and pressure. But his splits he's doing now, he just progressively keeps moving up the order, and he's going to be close to getting up to P1 here. Wow. He may go to the top of the order even with only really 3/4 of a hot lap. He does it.
And he did it.
Wow.
Less than a minute to go, and Will Power is up to the top.
But here comes Franchitti. Franchitti is working a lap behind him, who may bump him, so it may come down to the final lap. Here comes Franchitti. And he does,
not enough.
85 thousandths of a second. He's short of Will Power.
But they both have another shot. Power's ahead of Franchitti, so I mean, he's going to come across the line and get another lap, both these guys. Franchitti may not, but Power probably will.
19 seconds left now.
Scott Dixon, he's 5th. How's he doing, Jan?
He's still on a 5th place pace.
Okay.
So last year in qualifying, Dixon had the fastest lap of anybody throughout the time, but he said it in the qualifying, not in the final 6. He did it in the session before. And so it can show you how it all plays out.
But I think he got across before the checkered. We just had the call for the checkered. So if Dixon got past, nope,
he's in.
He's in, but he may have been ahead of it, but decided to abort. So we've got 3 people left on track.
Yeah. So like I say, last year he did set the fastest time, but he didn't do it in the final 6, so he started in the 2nd row instead of the front row and on the pole.
Here's Dario.
And he's not able to better it, so Power doesn't even have to worry about it now.
He has done it again. Elio is still on track. He's 6th fastest.
And he's coming to the line right there. Yep.
That is it. So he remains in 6th position. So it's Power, Franchitti, Sato, Hunter-Reay, Dixon, and Castroneves. Will Power wins yet another pole position, and we will talk to him when we come back to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. For Will Power, it's been sort of an up and down day. Earlier today in practice, he clipped the curb in turn number 1, slid off course here at Mid-Ohio, started to spin the car, then got up and over the tires. The car, his primary car, was scratched in preparation for him taking to the track in the backup car. And in the backup car, he has taken the pole for tomorrow's Honda Indy 200 here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. He has 4 wins this year. Will Power does, and he started 5th at Brazil and won the race, 1st in St. Pete at Watkins Glen, and in Toronto he started 2nd and went on to victory. And if he is he able to start the race tomorrow, he will clinch the Mario Andretti Trophy as road course champion. Lindy?
And here you see Will again, a familiar spot for him, the Peak Performance Pole Award, getting all the recognition here. He's already gotten the check. Now he's wearing the special hats and with the trophy. And Will Power told me, you just told me that mentally this was one of the toughest qualifying sessions for you. And why was that?
Right. Just because, you know, whenever you have a crash, it wasn't small either, you know, and I sort of hurt my leg a bit. It's tough to get back in and have to go out and give it everything you got and put it all on the line. Had no practice session before. So very happy, you know, and the guys had to work so hard to get the car together. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, was part of that mental anguish being in a backup car and you didn't really know it?
Yeah, I mean, the cars are identical, but they always feel different. There's something different in the seat. The pedals are a tiny bit different, and you've got to get molded to it.
Yeah, and by the way, all you have to do is start the race tomorrow to clinch the road course championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's an honor, you know, to receive, you know, an award with Mario Andretti's name on it, and there's so many fast drivers in this series. You know, that's awesome.
Will, thank you, and Robbie Floyd, Will Power, starting first again.
And next to him, Dario Franchitti, who has had success here before in other series, 2 poles. But, man, 1 shy of your 2nd pole this season. You like this track, and you say this car is fast.
Yeah, the target car is good today. We had a pretty long day yesterday, and Chris Simmons came around the bus last night. We went through all the data and just looked at where we could improve the car, where I could improve, because I didn't do a good job yesterday. So we tied it all together today, but we just came up a 10 short, just tying a whole lap together in the Fast Six. But it seems we can do times very consistently lap after lap. Was just getting that one special lap kind of eluded us there.
What was that feeling in your stomach when you were P1 and you went out there on that fresh rubber, those reds, not knowing you had to?
Yeah, you got to do it. I said, this is a big gamble, guys. This is a big gamble to take to stay in here and not use those reds. But we had to do it, because if had we not gone back out and not made the Firestone Fast Six, Chip would have had had some interesting conversations with us, I think. So that's part of the whole strategy of the qualifying. But the Firestone reds had an amazing amount of grip today. We just I didn't tie a lap together, like I say.
0.08. I think you did pretty good, buddy.
We'll get them tomorrow.
That was the margin of difference. Jack Arute.
This guy continues to get better and better on these permanent road courses. We're talking about the Lotus shoe for Takuma Sato. Takuma, tell me a little bit about what it is about these permanent road courses that has really challenged you and let you bring the best out in your driving style.
It is challenging, and particularly this, you know, the circuit has got a lot of aggressive up and hill. You know, it's a elevation change. It gives you need a lot of commitment to do that. But to be able to do so, you need a good balance the car and pick the right timing, which is very difficult. But we tested last week, and the bear is trying things.
How important was that test to you?
It's very important, because the first time we tested since February, you know, that was the very first time I jumped in the IndyCar and then tried to how to reach there. But last week was very productive. You can do a lot of back-to-back tests, know what we're doing, and come back here this week. Okay, conditions a bit different, but we continued working yesterday, and here we are. We put pieces together, and I was able to the commitment on the run.
Well, congratulations. Now you just got to go out there and win a race.
I try.
Okay, guys.
Formula One veteran Takuma Sato. Here is the way they will line up. And while you're looking at the lineup, let me give you just a few numbers regarding Will Power, who's at the top of that list. His 9th career IZOD IndyCar pole, 13th open wheel pole, the 7th of the season, and as we showed you in the graphic earlier today, that equals the record of most poles in a season set by Elio 3 years ago. Simona Di Silvestro will line up in the 10th starting position. And here are the drivers who will start 11 through 20. J.R. Hildebrand, last year's Firestone Indy Lights champion, makes his debut tomorrow in the IZOD IndyCar Series, starting in 15th position. And then the rest of the field, Bertrand Baguette in 21st. Adam Carroll is back after his debut at Watkins Glen. And Francesco Draconi is the new driver for Conquest Racing. He will start in the 26th position. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a moment. Again, Will Power wins the Peak Pole Award here at Mid-Ohio.
IZOD IndyCar qualifying on Versus is presented by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win.
At Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, Will Power will start from the pole tomorrow at 2:30 here on Versus in the Honda Indy 200. And Robbie is with the guy who will start 4th in the race, Ryan Hunter-Reay.
And he was 7th last year qualifying, finished 4th. Now you're qualifying 4th. Should win, right?
Yeah, that's good math. I like that. I like that. Now we had a good run. I mean, I thought the car was top 5, and we ended up 4th. So that's kind of on par. But we're just really trying to get this car up in the top 3 in the championship. And every day, every session, we're just taking one at a time. I love this racetrack and done well here in the past. So hopefully tomorrow will be a good day for us. We just need to stick to it, not make any mistakes, and hopefully that outside groove in turn 1 will be nice and dried off for me.
Thanks a lot, Ron. Good luck, Bob.
All right, now here are the points concerning the Mario Andretti Trophy, which will be awarded to the champion of the road courses, Will Power. All he has to do tomorrow is start the race, and he will clinch the championship. Well, Will is one who says he hates to lose a race, especially when he starts on the pole position. Let's go back to Watkins Glen.
He got jumped by his teammate Briscoe, but then by the time they got down to the bus stop, Robbie, he already made an aggressive move.
And a clean move all the way through. Now look at this from Toronto. Look at the race off the line. Justin Wilson beats him out. He's chasing. What's going to happen? On the outside of turn 1, makes it work, and off he goes.
That's because Justin had got pickup on the tires, couldn't hang on to it. You go to Edmonton, and earlier on, Castroneves, this was the legal one. This was a very aggressive move that he made on Power. It stuck to put him in the lead. And then Robbie, of course, the controversial restart.
There it is. Look at Elio staying down the inside. Will tries the outside, but now watch the game changer here. It's the race winner, Dixon. Comes in, sneaks by Power. There you go. Power would have won that race if it wasn't for that move right there by Dixon.
So Will Power wins his 7th pole of the year. The open wheel record for most poles, by the way, in a season. The great A.J. Foyt, who had 10 in 1965. Mario Andretti had 9 in 66. Danny Sullivan with 9 in 88. And 8 positions were won by 6 different drivers. So we await now the start of the race tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time here on Versus. The crowd is in position for yet more racing, which will occur here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course later this afternoon. So thanks for joining us for Peak Pole Qualifying. Coming up next, Whacked Out Sports. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio at 2:30 Eastern. For more information on the IZOD IndyCar Series, go to Versus.com. Congratulations to Will Power, our pole sitter for tomorrow. For Jan Beekes, Robbie Buell, Jack Arute, Robbie Floyd, and Lindy Thaxton, I'm Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern for the IZOD